It is no secret that the upgrading that was done at the linebacker position has given us plenty to be excited about between the level of talent and promise that these players possess and showing us what they can ultimately do. But while we haven't seen them on the field yet, let alone training camp, there is some intriguing thoughts to have once the season is said and done. Well, what am I talking about, you may ask? Well, let's find out. What is up, Bird brothers and sisters? Lindy Endzone is in for the touchdowns. I'm going to lead for the Philadelphia Eagles, one video at a time. Yes, we are back into doing another piece of content here, and while I was a little busy trying to get some live streams going, we had some success in which, Touchdown Talk episode 17 did not disappoint in having Philly 500, the King Dingbat himself, paid a visit to the channel. That episode of Touchdown Talk was wild. It was a surreal experience to have a content creator on, that has been one of the foundation pieces for, for a lot of guys in my position that, have loved talking, Eagles football over the years and haven't mustered up the courage at some point to create a platform and to start talking to a broader audience and Philly 500, along with a lot of others, has given us a blueprint or that kind of window, so to speak, to show that really anybody can do it if you set your mind to it. Have the personality, have the have that easy approach, and so on and so forth to come on here and blabber on about your favorite football team. So if you did not catch any of it, the playback of the stream, of course, you can find it in the Touchdown Talk series playlist on my channel if you did so happen to miss out. And of course, support for Philly 500 is always appreciated on that end. Aside from that, come tomorrow, I will say we have a bit of a rewind going on. A Touchdown Talk rewind show is going to happen. As I as I clicked the wrong thing, I wanted an overlay here. Touchdown Talk rewind comes at you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Joey Shakes is going to be paying another visit to the channel here, and as through episode 13, he and I, and this was before the draft even happened, it's going to be good to have him back on the channel again. Post-draft, approaching training camp, everyone is awaiting, for July 26th, and to have him back on the channel and to go over, everything that has happened up to this point. It's a good time. It's a good time to catch up with him once again and, see where his mind is at alongside mine, where we agree, where we differ. It's going to be an exciting time, and make sure y'all do not miss it. And of course, I can blabber on also about, the like, share, subscribe ordeal and whatnot. But, I don't know. I've kind of gotten over it to this point. It's all up to you guys at the end of the day. And I'm just here providing what I can to the best of my ability. So with that said, let's get into the conversation here. As I was saying, linebacker, whew, we have a lot to be excited about here, whether it was the addition of Hassan Reddick, Kaiser White being an undrafted signing coming over from the Chargers. Chargers fans are not happy about him leaving. We get him here on a one-year deal after his rookie contract expired. The depth added at the middle linebacker spot with Nakobe Dean, Sean Bradley is still here as a big contributor on special teams. You got TJ Edwards. And the list goes kind of on and on. And I say kind of in a way that we didn't have this luxury last year, in which we can go two strings deep at the position, where a lot of it was just focused on the first string guys, and where we, or where we had an Alex Singleton bouncing between T.J. Edwards, a Davion Taylor before he got hurt. Sean Bradley was trying to contribute defensively. Jannard Avery, Patrick Johnson. It's just it seemed like an overall mess, that there really wasn't a true sense and direction in where they wanted to take the core of the linebacking position, all across from Sam to Mike to Will. And it didn't seem completely direct in which they wanted to do. And don't mind the puppy that you hear in the background upstairs. He likes to be loud. But aside from that fact, I wanted to bring up the idea of, an interesting conversation that we're going to eventually have to have, because, well, you know, we're looking at Kaiser White, who, again, is coming in here on a 1-year deal. I think the expectation is that he's going to be looking to try and earn a contract through Philadelphia, understanding that his position, he has asserted, he has inserted himself into this defense to where he's looking like the number one at the will position. Again, we've seen a little bit of an emerging development with Davion Taylor, and unfortunately, due to injury, since he can't stay on the field, that's where a guy like Kaiser White can take advantage. He's still young. He has a lot to prove. Yet, aside from the rookie contract he had through the Chargers, he's only going to be about 27 years old. So for us to have a younger, for us to maintain the youth on this team and have a young staple on the defense to keep the linebacking position bolstered, Kaiser, I think he is going to want to ball out the same way that we think Hassan Reddick is going to do so, that he is back on his old stomping grounds around the Jersey, Philadelphia area. Another guy that's going to end up being a free agent after this year is T.J. Edwards at the mic. So, with that said, we only have to assume that we're going to expect a little bit of a ramp up, hopefully in snaps when it comes to Nakobe Dean. Again, he provides a whole lot of intrigue, a whole lot of excitement as to what he can bring to this defense as one of those commanding mics at the linebacker position. He's very good. He's very good with the blitz. He's very good with getting his guys set, in that Georgia Bulldog defense. So we can only hope from at some point going forward that there's going to be some kind of transition between him and TJ Edwards, that we can see a little bit of Nakobe Dean start taking some first team snaps. And then you go down the line and you understand, okay, well, most NFL teams keep about 7 linebackers. So in terms of the depth, well, where does this leave the Eagles? Well, you got your primary 3 you got your primary 3 across the board with Kaiser White, T.J. Edwards, Hassan Reddick at this moment in time. Being that training camp has not happened yet, we don't exactly know how the strings are going to line up. So as of now, we can assume that our first 3 along the first string would be Hassan Reddick at the Sam, T.J. Edwards at the Mike, and Kaiser White at the Will. Then you look at the second string, you got guys like Davion Taylor, Nakobe Dean, and Kyron Johnson, the recent 6th-round pick. Then you go to the third string, you got guys like Christian Ellis, Sean Bradley, Patrick Johnson, and then Jacoby Stevens kind of on the back burner right now from his position change from safety to linebacker, around the will position, because he's a little bit, I don't know that he's a good size to play the mic, and or obviously he's too small for to be a Sam. So nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see where the Eagles go. When it's all said and done, expectations, predictions aside, on what they're going to have to decide to do. In terms of upcoming free agents, again, we highlight Kaiser White, we highlight T.J. Edwards. So you're gonna have some holes at the will and the mic. Well, maybe not necessarily at the mic if we are expecting N'Kobe Dean to completely take that over at some point in time. And then if you're looking at the will and for whatever reason, if Kaiser White if he pulls an Eric Wilson, not, I completely doubt that's going to happen, by the way. But if he so happens to pull an Eric Wilson that we unfortunately had to go through last year, are we fully confident that Davion Taylor can be a full-time starter at the will? I think that's yet to be seen in terms of his health and continued development on the football field from a defensive standpoint. And then, that leaves one of the guys in the third string, Patrick Johnson, Sean Bradley, Christian Ellis. Now, as we know, there is a strong value when it comes to special team contributions, and that's where Sean Bradley makes a lot of his bread and butter at the moment. Yes, he has had some defensive snaps, here and there, and I don't have the hard numbers up to tell you what his snap count is. But aside from that, if he can show he can provide some value between defense and special teams, then there could be a situation in which he ends up being the seventh linebacker. Now, in terms of the first and second string, me personally, I think I would leave that alone. Again, Kaiser White, T.J. Edwards, Hassan Reddick as your first, Davion Taylor, N'Kobe Dean, Kyron Johnson as your second. Yes, I do believe Kyron would be elevated over a guy in Patrick Johnson, who I don't think is as explosive as Kyron can be in terms of playing the Sam, in providing a lot of that aggressive pass rushing ability. I don't think it is in Patrick Johnson to be like Kyron. So you're looking at a possible upgrade there. But that remains to be seen with Kyron Johnson coming in as a rookie and having to get used to this defensive structure that Jonathan Gannon is looking to improve come this season overall. So, man, yeah. With that said, it's an interesting outlook to really observe from a really premature standpoint. Yes, I may add, this is very premature right now, but again, it's under the assumption that there is going to be some positivity to look forward to when it's all said and done at the end of the season. But yeah, the depth is going to be affected come the conclusion of 2022 when I bring up that TJ Edwards and Kaiser White are set to be free agents. So we'll see if they can make a name for themselves in providing a lot of positive plays in Gannon's defense and maybe get another contract from the Eagles. If that's not the case, then I think it would best benefit Philly if they decide to go Kaiser White over TJ Edwards, although I don't think either of those two would be expensive if you combine them and try to keep both on your roster. So those are a little bit of my thoughts. Looking at the current linebacker situation right now and looking ahead past 2022 in terms of maintaining the depth that we just added. But let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comments on this. What are your ultimate expectations going forward for the linebacking core? How do you expect Jonathan Gannon to use these guys? Where do you think they're going to be featured best? Who are your favorites going into this year? Leave all your thoughts down in the comments, like I said. And with that, I will see everybody later for another video. Fly Eagles Fly, bleed green from Lindy. And I would say go Mavs, but Again, I don't make the content anymore. But yeah, MFFLs, you already know the deal. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Have a good night, and I will see you next time.